Sonic the Hedgehog in the early to mid 90s was thriving, an onslaught of great video games and memorable, fondly loved multimedia ventures. This blue rat and the mostly lovable bastards behind him created what I can only really properly describe as a vibe. The world of Sonic that was crafted in the early 90s is timeless, a sense of being in the moment but looking to age gracefully, so much so that I was all about this world and I wasn't even born yet. Through the Sonic Mega and Gems collection games, two of some of the best video game collections ever produced, was my gateway into a world that to this day holds my attention like no other. The colorful games, fun and fast gameplay that you weren't getting on that other console.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis.
Does.
Genesis.
Does.
Genesis.
Does.
Genesis.
Does.
Genesis does.
16-bit arcade hits.
You can't do this on Nintendo. Genesis does.
What Nintendo don't.
And to top it all off was the beautiful artwork that I spent entire days of my youth just looking at. Getting to see these little sneak peeks into Sonic's world beyond the games was everything to me as a child. The homeliness, the sense of fun and adventure, the feeling that every time I got to take a look into Sonic's world, things would be alright. Looking back at all this art now still brings up some of those nice feelings from my time as a kid. Apparently, these wonderful works of art, created by none other than Naoto Oshima himself, were originally created for an internal Japanese Sega magazine in the 90s called Sega Harmony. Cybershell has a really good video on this, so go check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. For as much as I loved the various art and games from the 90s, I always felt that there was only one game that came close to capturing this vibe, this aesthetic in Sonic's then colorful 2D world. I personally remember enjoying this game as a kid, but I haven't played it since. Over its now 32 years and counting of existing, the game has gone through its highs and lows in the Sonic fandom. At one point, lauded as the holy grail of Sonic games, it was also at one point considered to be a bad game, the antithesis of what Sonic was and is all about. The game enjoys a comfortable spot in today's fandom, loved by many for its unsurprisingly incredible music, beautiful environments, and good gameplay. Sonic CD dropped on the infamous Sega CD console in 1993. The Sega CD is known for its other classics such as Snatcher. I don't know anything about Snatcher. Is that fucking Hideo Kojima? I could give you a detailed synopsis about the Sega CD, but to be honest, the fact that I could walk up to anybody and ask, you know what this is, and their totally reasonable response would be, how did you get in here, should let you know all about the success of the Sega CD. Nonetheless, the console add-on was innovative. It's early 90s Sega we're talking about here. Innovation practically drove them into the ground with all the insane tech they were trying to push on people who just wanted to get on the sticks either at an arcade or at home. Making use of the compact disc for its games meant a substantial bump in production and quality. Consoles wouldn't use CDs until a year later when the Sega Saturn and a fairly unknown console called the PlayStation dropped in 1994. It only makes sense that Sonic would be on this console. Sega wasn't dumb enough to not push out a brand new full-fledged Sonic game on brand new hardware. What we got was something unique, something memorable, something good, but most importantly, the start of Sonic Team's run of truly unique games throughout the 90s that have stood the test of time. Sonic CD began as a Naoto Oshima-led project for the Sega CD in 1992. Oshima was held back in Japan, while other core members of Sonic Team went to the US to work on Sonic 2. Sega wanted a brand new Sonic game on the Sega CD and gave Naoto's team breathing room to work on Sonic CD. I always found it interesting that time travel was a common aspect of development between both games. I wonder if it was a thing Oshima, Naka, and Yasuhara conceptualized shortly after the release of Sonic 1. The concept of time travel was obviously woven into the story, taking us to a new place in Sonic's world called Little Planet. It's never been properly shown where this planet is located, but Sonic Origins implies that Never Lake and Little Planet are both near South Island. The planet appears above a lake once a month on or near an island that houses many illusions, mysteries, and treasures to be found. Actual A+ world building. It also adds to the Pangea theory about Sonic's world, which I've talked about at length in a good bit of my videos. Dr. Eggman has seized control of Little Planet, looking for the time stones to rewrite history at his whim. Sonic arrives on the scene, as well as newcomer Amy Rose, who is kidnapped by Eggman's shiny new toy Metal Sonic, a refined robotic copy of the Blue Hedgehog meant to finally stop Sonic from interfering with Eggman's plans. Throughout the game, you're given the ability to travel to the past, present, and future by using these signposts scattered throughout the level. With enough speed, you'll be traveling through a different era of each level. Traveling to the future shows a bad timeline, polluted, desolate areas devoid of life due to Eggman's actions. In the past, there are robot transporters that must be destroyed in order to create a good future for every act in the zone overall. The good future features a different aesthetic, music, and no enemies in sight. Really good, simple, and literal environmental storytelling. Sonic in the early 90s specifically was heavy on that environmentalism theme in the original trilogy, and Sonic CD cranks it up a notch in a classic example of storytelling through gameplay. I think it's well done for the most part. If you don't do this, there's another way of getting the good future of every act, and it's by gathering 50 rings and jumping through the big ring at the end of each act. The similarity to Sonic 1's method serves to draw even more connections between the locations of both games. In Sonic CD, you get a time stone after completing these trippy looking special stages. These places really took advantage of Sega CD's hardware. 3D-like spaces that are a bitch to play through. Hey, just like Sonic 2, collecting all 7 time stones guarantees the good ending of the game. It feels very rewarding seeing the good future in every zone. You're rewarded for doing the dirty work by getting a glimpse of Little Planet's potential paradise. As Sonic continues to chase Eggman through Little Planet, he eventually dukes it out with Metal Sonic, saves Amy, claps the Doctor one more time as he saves the planet. At its core, Sonic CD is a simple story, much like Sonic 1 in its premise, but its themes are more overt. I dig it, it's good. This game marks the first use of animated cutscenes in Sonic Team's games. There's a unique presentation of these cutscenes that clearly influence Knights, as that game features cutscenes only at the start and end of the game, same as Sonic CD. The cutscenes were done by Toei Animation. I honestly don't believe that I can accurately convey to you the sheer influence, the grip these cutscenes have on Sonic fans young and old to this day. The style, the flair, the music, the animation itself captures a certain vibe and attitude about Sonic the Hedgehog that in my opinion has not been replicated since. Funny tidbit, one of the game's lead planners, Kenichi Ono, reveals in an interview that the team demanded that Toei use their Dragon Ball animation team to create the animations. In another interview found in issue 7 of Marukatsu Mega Drive, sound director Yukifumi Makino talks about conveying the character of Sonic through the music in response to the interviewee, saying that the music gives off that don't give a fuck attitude baked into Sonic's whole being. And I think that's extended beyond the music into the animation. These animations give me those same feelings I talked about near the beginning of the video. Hours upon hours spent rewatching these cutscenes, catching every little detail, being so lost in the music, gushing at how fucking cool and badass Sonic effortlessly looks. These cutscenes bookend the story. The ending animation specifically recaps Sonic's adventure through Little Planet, and while you can't do some of the shit Sonic does in this animation, it offers a new perspective on your adventure. For a moment, you got to play as Sonic the Hedgehog. You got to spin, run, and jump around, traveling through time while owning Badniks, racing Metal Sonic, and dealing the final blow to Eggman, saving the girl and saving the day. You, for this brief moment, got to be part of that elusive world of Sonic. Thanks for playing. It's perfect. I already briefly touched on some aspects of the visuals, but to go more in depth here, Oshima's team takes full advantage of their time and the hardware given to them to create 4 distinct looks for each round. One of the designers was a man some of you may recognize as Kazuyuki Hoshino. the man behind the designs of Metal Sonic, Amy Rose, and later on, Shadow the Hedgehog. Along with level designers such as Hiroaki Hoshino, known for designing the cult classic Streets of Rage, levels weren't designed the same as the classic trilogy. For example, Sonic CD implements the top, bottom, and middle pathway design, but it's not entirely skill-based. The levels are designed in such a way that's meant to be explorable, while allowing the player to clear them in a short amount of time if they so choose. I love how distinct every level looks from each other. Palm Tree Panic, Collision Chaos, Tidal Tempest, Quartz Quadrant, Wacky Workbench, Stardust Speedway, and Metallic Madness. 7 total rounds. 4 different levels per act, or zones as they're called in this game. That's 28 different levels in Sonic CD. These levels look great. Some of my favorite looking stages from Sonic period. Palm Tree Panic features Golden Irrigation System, every level in Stardust Speedway, Collision Chaos Past, Wacky Workbench Past, and Quartz Quadrant Future are some of the best looking levels I've ever seen. They really went a long way, giving each level their own distinct looks. None of the zones in each round look the same, and there's not much overlap between rounds as well. One thing I really like is how creepy some of the levels look. I haven't played this game as a kid, so when I first went to Palm Tree Panic's Bad Future, the music combined with the disgusting levels of pollution freaked me out. Metallic Madness's Bad Future made me feel like I was fighting for my life at one point. The second zone of that level was smoking me no matter which era I played in. I appreciate the team's creativity, and the time given to them to really flesh out this art direction really shows. It also shows off the Sega CD's capabilities well. The music here is no exception. With one of my all-time favorite music composers, Naofumi Hataya, at the helm, Sonic CD's soundtrack reaches a much more varied range than anything that's come before it, or much that's come after it since. The music aged so gracefully that many consider it the very best OST in the Sonic franchise to this day. I can see the case for it. The combination of house music, techno, and new jack swing adds so much life to the already vibrant visuals. Past songs have a cheaper sound meant to replicate a prehistoric vibe of each round's bygone era. The present songs are more varied in their style. Stardust Speedway song is funky, while Palm Tree Panic goes for a cheerful tropical sound. Metallic Madness has the fast-paced beats mixed in with sinister piano riffs. This soundtrack has a lot to offer. A lot of it reminds me of Nights into Dreams music. You can clearly hear the musical inspiration from Sonic CD to Nights. Quartz Quadrant and Metallic Madness future tracks are my personal favorites.
Oh my god! Somebody put a cork in my penis so I stop ejaculating so much. Good god!
Can't talk about this game and not mention Stardust Speedway's Bad Future music. I know it's been memed into the sun these days, but the song is genuinely great. I've been talking about the Japanese soundtrack here, as I only remember bits and pieces of the US soundtrack. I remember loving Tidal Tempest and the special stage music, but that's about it. The US version has its own unique sound that isn't bad at all. The Japanese soundtrack just smokes it. Well, it smokes most of it. I don't know if this is a controversial take, but I prefer both versions of the iconic Sonic Boom song that's used in the Western version of the animations over You Can Do Anything and Cosmic Eternity. That might have something to do with hearing Sonic Boom first whenever I played and beat Sonic CD as a kid. Like many others, I only became aware of the Japanese soundtrack through its inclusion in the 2011 Christian Whitehead version of Sonic CD. I love me some Toot Toot Sonic Warrior as much as the next arranged Sonic fan, but for me, Sonic Boom, especially the ending version, is on another level. Speaking of levels, the gameplay of Sonic CD is one of the most unique among Sonic games. You have your regular classic running and jumping platforming. One thing I appreciate that Sonic CD does is having the screen pan to show what's ahead of Sonic. It gives the player more time to react to oncoming obstacles, which is essential for this game's core gameplay mechanic, time traveling. There are 3 signposts you can find depending on what time you're in: past, present, and future. You'll never find the signpost for the current time you're in. If you go to the future, you'll find one of two types of levels. Going into the future without finding the robot capsule in the past takes you to a heavily polluted, roboticized time period full of enemies and hazards. Going to the future after destroying the robot capsule takes you to the good future. The good future has no enemies, only obstacles that need to be avoided. Not only do you get a change of scenery when you travel through time, the stage design changes as well. Areas you couldn't access in the past become available in the present, future, and vice versa. Not only does this encourage exploration, but it also adds an extra layer of strategy to how you want to traverse through each level. Do you want to tough it out in the bad futures to get the shield or 1-up box you spotted in the present but couldn't reach? Do you want to see if the past offers a different way to obtain those ring capsules, or do you want to not even have to worry about traveling through bad future stages by exploring the past, finding and destroying the robot capsule, then making your way to the good future to ensure that you can comfortably rack up rings and goodies with next to no imminent danger? Well, the game encourages you to explore, so you're likely to do so and then be curious enough to see what changes are in the present, past, and future. I personally love playing it the last way I outlined. Getting the good future in every zone feels super rewarding, which means a lot coming from me personally because the actual level layouts are kind of a bitch to play through. Stages like Collision Chaos and Wacky Workbench are full of shit that sends you every which way. It makes traversing through the levels nowhere near as fun as I would love for them to be, but getting to the good future in both rounds feels rewarding. Getting to play a version of the stage designed to be more leisurely feels good. It really feels like I'm fighting for a better future, so I'd say that Oshima and his team accomplished their goal in terms of telling the story through the gameplay. If time travel isn't your thing, you can collect the time stones. Oh boy, the time stones are in these awesome looking special stages. I didn't comment much on their visuals earlier as I only got to play through about 5 of them. But the backgrounds of these levels look stellar, from trippy colors to shit that looks like something you'd make your desktop wallpaper background. The visuals of these special stages captures that same vibe I got looking at a bunch of classic Sonic art as a kid. Special stages 2 and 4 are some of my favorite. They remind me of the Sonic Advance games. I wish that I could say the controls are good too. You can't stop Sonic. He is constantly moving and you have to navigate him through a bunch of roads, making sure to avoid the water as it depletes your time limit, and destroy all the UFOs before time runs out. You're gifted with an extra UFO that gives you more time once your time drops below 20 seconds. I don't know if my depth perception is cooked or what, but I recall many times where I swore I had a UFO and missed it by a pixel. Sonic turns in wide arcs, which I don't totally hate because it makes me pay attention to the stage layout. Figuring out how to properly position yourself for a turn, or turning around without having to worry about hitting the water adds a decent level of strategy to these stages. I felt like I had to be stupidly locked in for them. I tried to one-shot all of them while also getting all the robot capsules in the regular stages, but I choked at special stages 4 and 5 before giving up on that. Good thing I did, because in later levels, maintaining 50 rings becomes a skill that I don't have. Look at some of these maps for these levels. There's so much going on here, both good and bad, but the main highlight is the freedom to explore. You can backtrack all the way to the beginning of any given level as long as you don't pass the gold direction sign. I think that's great. The whole level is yours to play around in, but they could have done a better job at teaching the player about certain stage gimmicks. To beat a dead horse to death, Collision Chaos and Wacky Workbench are the 2 stages that I wasn't having as much fun with as I wanted to. Collision Chaos doesn't really have a problem conveying to the player its gimmick. Oh, it definitely doesn't. It's in the name, and there's 500 million billion trillion types of bumpers everywhere. The problem is using them for platforming. The stages are open, but a lot of Collision Chaos's layout feels stifling. Most times I'm at the whim of these godforsaken bumpers. Wouldn't it be better if we got more areas where we got this type of bumper where you can bounce as it elevates to higher areas? What if we didn't have so many bumpers lumped together all over the stage, and instead had them more intentionally placed to give players an idea of how to use them to their advantage? It makes gathering speed frustrating, and to circumvent this, there are small pockets where you're given a chance to get some speed needed for time travel. I'd rather not have this and just have levels designed with the intention of letting the player reach high speeds naturally. Sometimes you could find an area that exists in present, past, and future that makes time travel easy. This one spring slope in Collision Chaos that sends you into this point counter is a good spot. The repurposed circular wheels found in Sonic 1's Scrap Brain Zone are at the start of Metallic Madness Zone 2, and it makes time travel a joke. but I think it would have been better if we had these on top of stages where you can naturally get that sense of speed. Tidal Tempest is the best example of what I'm trying to get at. I reached an area that looked confined. I wondered how the hell was I going to reach and maintain time travel speed, so I just said fuck it and trusted my own reflexes. I was rewarded with the level having this area where you don't need springs to launch you at high speeds. It was just a section of some simple, good old fashioned run and jump man gameplay that achieved the desired result, and it felt really good. I wish the levels in this game had more of that. Instead, we get shit like this.
Okay, who put springs in the middle of a damn forest?
The one level that does a bad job at showcasing his gimmick is Wacky Workbench, specifically Act 1. Well, it doesn't do a bad job actually, because it doesn't even bother to show you in the first place. In the past, there's a robot generator that is behind a wall, and you see that there's a pipe above it. Cool, just gotta find the slope entrance, and where is it? How am I supposed to get to the... Oh, these specific crushers with pistons underneath them that you have to allow yourself to get crushed by, send you through a pipe and boom, you're at the capsule.
Oh, I get it!
One quick question. How the fuck was I supposed to know that? There's nothing about these crushers that indicate that they are any different from other crushers you've seen in both Sonic 1 and in Sonic CD. There's no reason for you to think, what if I allowed myself to get crushed by this thing? It's a cool, subverted use of the obstacle, but the game at no point offers you a time and space to learn this mechanic. Wacky Workbench in general just isn't a very fun level. More bouncing around and getting electrocuted as God and Satan point and laugh at my misery. I enjoyed the past sections more, and didn't get to see what the future zone level designs had to offer until the third zone. I was over it with this round, so once I destroyed the robot capsules in the past, I got the fuck out of there. While some of these levels aren't all that fun to play through, Sonic CD's gameplay and general flow feels good. Even in places like Wacky Workbench, it doesn't take long to reach the end. The bulk of your time spent in every level is determined by how much exploration you do, and if you're wasting time traveling for even more explorative opportunities. Back when I was super young, I remember seeing people online say shit like, Sonic CD is bad. It's the antithesis of what Sonic is meant to be. As a kid, I was like, what the heck is an antithesis? Now, as a grown man who knows how to use Google instead of asking dumb questions on social media, I couldn't disagree more with that sentiment. Yes, a lot of the level design and placement of springs and bumpers prioritizes exploration, and in some cases, it can impede the sense of speed that you naturally get from any other Sonic game, but I found that outside of Metallic Madness, I wasn't having a problem getting through the levels in a relatively quick time. Don't let some of these times you're seeing on my footage fool you. Finding the goalpost took far less time than actually exploring the levels did. I've seen some people clear these levels in less than 40 seconds. I think Sonic CD is like any other Sonic game. It's your skill, reflexes, and memory of the maps that determines how quickly you complete any given zone. Even with all its flaws, it's not just a good platformer, it's a good Sonic game. One that I can easily see myself replaying just like I do with the original trilogy. When I first made this channel, I wasn't looking to be so Sonic oriented. My original focus was on Sonic Team and the people who made up this legendary band of developers in the 90s. This group created some of the most unique looking, best sounding games I've ever seen, and I wanted to properly dive into these projects. Sonic 1 is the start of it all, that's unquestionable, but in my opinion, the level of production Sonic Team poured into CD, with Naoto at the helm, was something truly special in its own way apart from Sonic as a franchise. Sonic CD was formed around the idea of time travel and environmentalism, two aspects of the story that are woven into the gameplay seamlessly. This idea of fighting for something. Fighting for the future becomes a core element of future Sonic Team games. In Nights, Clarice and Elliot are fighting against their own anxieties and insecurities as they're confronted with problems. By the end of the game, the two have grown, ensuring that they will live meaningful lives as they continue to grow up. Burning Rangers' whole concept is about fighting to save lives in a future where the only danger is the raging fire that threatens human life, which is where the Burning Rangers firefighting squad steps in. In SA2, Maria's final wish to Shadow was to make the people of Earth happy and to preserve that happiness even if the world may eventually turn against them one day. The vibrant graphics and art direction, the step up in music quality, the themes, the messaging, the successful implementation of unique core gameplay mechanics, it all starts here. I haven't seen a game like Nights or Burning Rangers since those games came out. The creativity that Sonic Team used to be known for saw its beginnings in Sonic CD. All of those wonderful concepts and gameplay mechanics that culminated in Sonic Adventure 2, it all starts here. But it starts here too. Sonic 1 is the start of it all. it's the start of Sonic Team. It's the start of a massive multimedia franchise that is still giving us good games 30 years later. But for Sonic Team, Sonic CD was the start of something else. Something out of the way but still full of love and passion. Something that spawned some of the greatest games ever made that will never get the widespread love they deserve. But that's okay, because for me, for Sonic Team, Sonic CD was the start of something beautiful. As usual, I welcome you to leave your thoughts about Sonic CD in the comments below. If you liked this video, check the channel for my other Sonic Team related video game reviews, and more Sonic goodness for your viewing pleasure. That's all I got for now. Shout out to you for watching. I'm out. Peace.